As of this recording, Rudy Giuliani is an 80-year-old man who somehow, after 8 decades of life, has not learned the valuable lesson that when you're in a hole, stop digging. Or maybe Rudy Giuliani just thinks that he's dug himself down so far there's no way he's getting out anyway, so he may as well just keep trying to dig to the other side of the earth. But either way, Rudy Giuliani continues to make his legal problems so much worse by continuing to defame the 2 former Georgia election workers that sued him and won, $146 million, forcing you into bankruptcy, forcing you recently to turn over all of your belongings to them. And he is still, according to these 2 women, defaming them on his podcast. So here's what happened. A couple weeks ago, Giuliani got on his podcast, I believe it was November 12th, where he once again repeated the false claim that Ruby Freeman and Shaye, while working as Georgia election workers, counted the fake ballots. So the same claim that got him in trouble in the first place, he made it again. You've already lost everything to these 2 women, and you're out there repeating the same false claim. And he added that they, quote, framed me. He said, "You framed me," he said of the women. And then he made those same comments 2 days later on his podcast. So, in response to this continued defamation, lawyers for Freeman and Moss have asked U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell to impose some kind of punishment on Giuliani because he won't stop doing what he already got in trouble for doing. Here's what the lawyers said to Judge Howell. These statements repeat the exact same lies for which Mr. Giuliani has already been held liable and which he agreed to be bound by court order to stop repeating. The court should hold Mr. Giuliani in civil contempt, following a hearing if necessary, impose sanctions calculated to ensure Mr. Giuliani's compliance with the consent injunction. So the judge has said that you guys have until December 2nd, Giuliani's lawyers, to respond to this request for contempt. And then, after you respond on December 2nd, I want y'all all back here in my courtroom on December 12th, where I'm going to issue my ruling. And I am willing to bet that Judge Howell, who is the one who presided over the defamation trial, I'm willing to bet that Judge probably not going to be too kind to Giuliani there. Again, because this moron can't seem to stop running his mouth. This is almost exactly what happened with Donald Trump and E. Jean Carroll, right? Like after the first defamation lawsuit where Trump lost, went out there, kept defaming her. So Carroll was like, you know what? We're going to do this again. And she did. And she won. And she won a lot more money than she won the first time. Unfortunately, for Freeman and Moss, Giuliani has nothing left. So, you can't get blood from a turnip, as they say. So it's not like they can go and say, hey, we're going to take more money from him, which I wish they could, but they can't because he has nothing. But you know what? I do know this. Giuliani still has some things of value that maybe the judge could turn over. I mean, after all, podcast equipment, I should know, is not cheap. So, there's value in that. Make him sell it. Make him give it to them. Hell, maybe they can have a podcast. Maybe they could bring him on as a guest. But either way, that man still has things of value that can be taken away, and hopefully the judge does it. Not to mention, I have to point this out, these women were actually super nice to Giuliani. Let's not forget that he didn't want to turn over the watches that were his grandfather's. They were family heirlooms. And the judge was like, no, you have to. But Freeman and Moss were like, hey, no. We're actually you can keep those because those are heirlooms. We're not horrible people like you. So, we don't want to take his family heirlooms. So they bent over backwards to be nice to him when they didn't have to. And this is how he repays them. I hope he gets, I just throw the book at him, Judge. Do whatever you have to. Because this man has repeatedly proven that he is a massive scumbag and that he has no intention of stopping being a scumbag.